Welcome YouTubers to another episode of Shaking and Baking with Parkinson's. I am Jamie, aka Sugar, and welcome to the channel. Today's bake, pretty amazing bake. It is a very famous bake that can be found on Netflix, it can be found on websites, it can be found talked about in social media. It is all over the place. Today's bake is from Milk Bar. If you're not familiar with Milk Bar in New York City, it was the brainchild of Christina Tossi and David Chang. It is an amazing place, and what we're gonna make today is the Milk Bar Pie, AKA used to be known as crack pie. So it's very similar. If you're in the South, it's very I would say it's a relative of a chess pie. But oh my goodness, if you can make this thing, it is totally worth it. And if you can order one, I recommend that too, because they do sell them and ship them. And I've done that a few times in their cookies, and that is awesome to do. So I'll put a link to their website down in the description below. This is a very, very sweet dessert, and I cannot wait for you to bake it with me. It's very different, but I think you're gonna learn some pretty cool things about it. It's frozen, the pie, after you make it. You actually stick it in the freezer, but there's a few steps involved. You make an oat cookie, then that oat cookie becomes the crust of the pie, and then we make the filling. Very simple filling, but you have to be very exact with your ingredients. And also, take your time, work through it, make sure you get everything exactly right. But if you follow the step by step, it will turn out unbelievable. So please, if you like the channel, if you like what I'm doing, please tell somebody about it. Go down in the corner, hit the subscribe button. Every week, posting a new recipe in here. I'm gonna start doing from cookbooks. I'm going to do some recipes of mine, do some recipes from TV, maybe some movies. If you wanna see something, if you wanna see me try and make something, please leave a description or leave a comment down there. Tell me what you like about the channel. Tell me what you don't like about the channel. If there's something you'd like to see me do, I'd love to hear about that. But with that, let's make some crack pie. So step one of this recipe for Milk Bar Pie, AKA crack pie, is to make an oat cookie. So we're gonna make this oat cookie, we're gonna put it on, we're gonna bake it on a sheet pan, and then that's what's gonna become our crust for the pie. So the ingredients, as you'll find listed, go ahead and pre-measure everything out. This is the part of it's made with a stand mixer. Then we're also gonna use a food processor, but you can also use a mixer to do the whole thing. But first things first, we're gonna take our butter, we're gonna cream our butter in the mixer. This is just gonna make a basic cookie. The cookie is delicious. You could eat the cookie even without the pie. I mean, honestly, I have, and it is amazing. So I'm gonna cream this butter real quick, and I'm gonna add my sugars. It's brown sugar and granulated sugar, both in there. We're gonna cream the butter and sugar together. That's gonna be the base of our cookie. All right, so I'm just gonna scrape that down the sides and make sure that gets good. Everything gets good and mixed up before I add my other ingredients. So now I'm gonna turn the mixer to low, and I'm gonna add my egg yolk in there and let that get good and mixed up. So now, with the mixer running on low, what I'm gonna add is the rest of the ingredients. That has my oats in it, my flour in it, my baking soda, my baking powder, and my salt that's from the recipe. So I'm gonna go ahead and add these in there, and I'm gonna leave it on low until everything has been incorporated. It just takes about a minute or so to get all that mixed up. And after it looks like that, I'm gonna stop it, and I'm just gonna stir around, make sure everything is good. All the dry ingredients are a little bit wet. After I finish this, I'm gonna use a half sheet, or if you're a quarter sheet, you can use a quarter sheet. You either use a parchment paper, spray it with some Pam, or I love using these Silpat mats. If you haven't ever used them, let me tell you, it really, really, really does a great job. And if you don't have any, they make an amazing Christmas present. So ask for them for Christmas, stocking stuffers, whatever you want to do. Easy, you can find them pretty much anywhere online, and you'll love them. They're great for cookies, they're great for things like this. All right, that is pretty much mixed together, but I highly recommend using the Silpats. So I'm gonna clean this off. Make sure I get all that in there, because you will need every single bit of it that you can get. And I'm gonna take my bowl away. And we're just gonna spread this out on this Silpat, and I'm going to bake it at 350 degrees for about 15 minutes. It'll puff up. Doesn't matter what shape it's in, because after the cookie's done, we're actually gonna put it into the food processor to make the pie crust. So the biggest thing is just making sure you kind of get the right thickness so it's uniform all the way across, because that way it will all cook at the same rate. See, if you have one side that's, you know, of course thinner than the other, it's going to cook faster. We don't want that. We want it to cook about the same. So again, 350 in the oven for about 15 minutes. This is going to puff up, and we're going to stick this in the oven. We'll see you in just a minute. Okay, so at this point, our cookie has been baked, and I'm going to tell you just a little hint, something I do. It's not in the recipe. I make a double batch of the cookie. Reason is, one, it's a delicious oat cookie. You just make it by yourself, you'd be thrilled to death. Anybody'd be thrilled with this cookie. Number two, when I spread my pie pans, you know, this is a very, very, very thin crust, but sometimes I may just need just a little bit extra to just fill up the tins, and it gives me some of that. So I can show you what the cookie looks like. This is what mine looks like. I've already cut off the edges. I will eat these probably later, the family will. And then I have the other that I'll use for the pie crust. But while it's doing, okay, that's got good and cool, because the next steps, I want to go ahead and make sure everything's ready. But the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you make the crack pie, aka milk pie filling. Now, this has to be done with a stand mixer. Cannot be done with a granny mixer, can't be done with a hand mixer, because it takes a really short time to put it together, but you need that constant movement of it to get the smooth filling that we're going to use. So, also important thing, this is the part of the recipe. If you're thinking about making this, number one, look at the recipe. Number two, because check the ingredients. There's an ingredient in here that I was not familiar with, and it's corn powder. Now, I was thinking, okay, maybe cornstarch, maybe something like that, but oh no, come to find out, this is actually freeze-dried corn that has then been pulverized into a powder. This is what I found. You can find it online. It's the only place I found it. There's nowhere in the stores around here. Maybe we'll be lucky and you'll have it somewhere near you. This thing cannot be made without it. It is one of the key ingredients. It all is. This recipe needs to be measured out to the exact gram. But anyway, back to the filling. All my dry ingredients in the stand mixer includes the sugar, the brown sugar, the corn powder, the milk powder, salt, I think that's it. That's it. So I've got that in here. I'm going to just use my mixer just for a quick minute, just to make sure it's all mixed together. All of those dry ingredients are blended together. Then I've got some melted butter. Also have 8 egg yolks. These yolks have to be all yolk. There cannot be any white mixed in with it. If so, the pie doesn't turn out. It's quite finicky. Christina did it. It's amazing that it's turned out the way it is, but it really is something that has to be done step by step. I haven't ever changed anything in this recipe. Okay, so I've got that done. I've got my melted butter. I'm going to go ahead and add that in and just mix it just until everything is nice and wet. All the dry ingredients are no longer dry. And now from here on out, I'm going to keep my mixer on low. I'm going to let that get good. It's mixed up pretty well. Looks like everything is a little bit at the bottom's working on it, but it's getting there. Then I'm going to add my heavy cream. I'm going to add my vanilla. So I've got my heavy cream sitting out here. Actually, I'm going to add the vanilla first. Just a little bit of vanilla, not a lot. Okay. And now I'm going to add my heavy cream, and I'm just going to let the heavy cream mix until there's no more white streaks. As you pour this in here, you'll see the heavy cream there, and you'll see it kind of will begin to mix together. And when all that is mixed up good, then I'm going to just kind of want to make sure everything mixed up. If I need to scrape down the sides, I can do that very carefully. Okay, now at this point, I'm going to just scrape down the sides. Okay, so now I've got that good mixed up. I'm going to add my egg yolks in there and just mix it until it is just combined. So I want to make sure that this does not get aerated. So I'm keeping my mixer on low, and I just want to mix it. It's getting very glossy. Everything's getting mixed together. That's perfect, but I don't want to over mix it. I don't want to mix it too fast because I don't want to aerate it. Okay, so like I said, it takes very short amount of time to create this filling, but the filling's done. Okay, so here's the ball. If everything seems a little too dry to form this ball, add another tablespoon or two of butter and you'll see it'll come right together. So you really want to be able to do this, because if not, it's going to be too dry to really cover your pans. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this. I'm going to form the crust in both pans. So I'll be able to use my fingers and my palms of my hands to spread this out and create the crust so that it evenly covers the bottom and most of the sides. It may not come all the way to the top of the pie pan, but that's fine. Get to do the best you can, and you want it to be a thin crust. So I'm going to spread these out, and I will see you when I get finished doing that. All right, so we got the crust in both pans, and now we're going to add the filling to both pie crust. And then I'm going to put them on pans, and then they're going to go into the oven. Now this has some the baking instructions, you have to follow them. Has some time related things. So, but first of all, we're going to get that filling in there, and then we're going to get them in the oven. Okay, so I talked about the instructions for the baking. You really have to pay attention because you're baking at a certain temperature for 15 minutes. Then it has instructions you actually open your oven door for a little while and reset the temperature to 325, let your oven cool down, bake for another 5 or 10 minutes depending on how jiggly the middle of the pie is. Okay, so we're there about to take these crack pies out of the oven. Now the center of these are going to be very jiggly. And that's fine. That's what we want. That's exactly what you want them to be. As soon as I take these out of the oven, I'm going to transfer them directly to the freezer. You can let them come to room temperature and then freeze them, but you have to freeze them for at least 3 hours. So next time you see me after we check these out of the oven, it's going to be a few hours later. Let's see what these things look like. Oh yeah. So the outside of it's turned nice golden brown, but the center's still what you would consider not completely done, but that's exactly what you want. That gives it the amazing consistency that it's going to have. So I'm going to take these, pop them in the freezer, see you in a few hours later. Okay, so here we are. Different shirt, many hours later. The pies have set beautifully. They're just a little soft in the middle, and that's exactly what you want. The pie doesn't set hard, even though it's been in the freezer for hours. To top these off, because why not? Powdered sugar. Just a little bit, and I just to make them that much more like crack pie. So that is how you make the milk bar pie. Well, that's it for another week. So I hope you'll tune in for the next video, which I'm not sure what we're going to do next, but it's going to be something awesome. And always remember, please, if you need more information on Parkinson's, there's going to be links down in below in the description. Also, a link to the recipe of this amazing dessert. So please check it out and check those links out if you need more information. If you need to talk to me, please, by all means, leave something in the comment. I respond to all my comments. And remember, the road may sometimes be a little shaky, but it will always be tasty. Thanks. See you soon.